So now that we've looked at the area and the perimeter of a triangle and different quadrilaterals, we're now going to look at what a circle is, what we can calculate with a circle. We're going to calculate the circumference and the area of a circle. Okay, now the circumference is really just like the perimeter. The circumference is the distance around the outside of the circle. So if I started on this circular and I walked all the way around the circle, I would have the circumference of the circle. So it's really the perimeter of the circle, or the outside. Now we have to calculate it a different way because we don't have sides that we can add up. So we have a formula for finding the circumference. And the circumference, capital C, circumference is equal to pi times diameter. Now I'm sure you're familiar with pi. You have a key on your calculator that's pi, and pi is approximately 3.14159, and it keeps going. And what do you know about pi? Well, it never repeats, and there's no pattern to it. It's just random decimals, right? So we abbreviate pi and we use 3.14 when we need to estimate what an actual circumference is or an area. Or we can use we can give our answers in terms of pi. This would be exact, and this would be an estimate if we use 3.14. But pi is in the formula, and then it's times d. Well, d is the diameter. Okay, the diameter of a circle, okay, goes all the way across the circle, from one side of the circle all the way to the other, and it goes through the center of the circle. That's the diameter, all the way across. Okay, now the radius, okay, we've also sometimes when we work with circles, we work with the radius. The radius goes from the center of the circle just to one side. So the radius goes halfway. Okay, and you have to keep those two things straight because sometimes the pictures or the word problems will give you the diameter, so you've already been given the distance across, and sometimes it'll give you the radius. And the radius is halfway across, so we would have to double it to get the actual diameter. So keep that in mind, the difference between diameter and radius. Okay, we are going to use this formula, circumference equals pi times diameter. So in this particular problem, if I wanted the circumference, I'd say the circumference equals pi times the diameter, and the diameter is 14 centimeters. So if I wanted to list my answer exact, I'd say 14 pi, and again it's a distance around, so it'd just be in centimeters. Or if I substitute the value 3.14 in for pi, I would get an approximation. I'd get approximately 44 centimeters all the way around that circle. Okay, so we're going to read the directions and see how we want to leave our answers. But if you leave pi in your answer, that's exact. Okay, and if we substitute 3.14, then we're probably going to get a decimal, and we have to round that decimal. So that's an approximation. Okay, that's how you find circumference. That's the distance around. When it comes to the area of the circle, remember area is this whole thing inside. It's all of that. If we were going to paint it or lay carpet or something like that, we're finding the area. An area has a different formula, okay? So finding the area, we use what's called pi times radius squared. Okay, so the diameter was used in the circumference. The radius is used in the area formula. Okay, so for this particular circle, the radius was given to me. It's from the center to the outside of the circle. So I would just say the area equals pi times the radius is 7, and it's squared. Now, do I multiply first or do I square first? Okay, well, we square first, so we'd say the area equals 7 squared is 49. Pi times 49. Okay, I can leave my answer like that, and if I do, I want to say 49 pi. We put the number first, followed by pi. It's an area, so I would say centimeters squared. Now, if I want to plug in, and I need the decimal approximation, I could plug in 3.14 for that. And I could multiply that together, and if I do that, I'm going to get an approximation. I'm going to have to round my answer. I get 153.9, and it's still centimeters squared. So we can leave our answer exact with pi in our answer, or we can plug 3.14 in and get the decimal approximation. Okay, we're going to read the directions and decide what we want to do. That's how you find circumference and area of a circle.